I believe that the fires we're cast upon are the flames we shall become. I believe in a common calling where our temples pray as one. I believe in the word of wonder and a kingdom for the saved.
Larry Pollock here with Leo Mayrhofer. Today we're going to go over a couple different things. We're going to talk about the Toronto Pro that's coming up, and but first we want to discuss a recent occurrence that's happened over the last few years in the amateur ranks in bodybuilding. It's actually been happening for quite a while, but it's been more drastic since COVID started. Is very few competitors compared to before. About 30% of the competitors, what normally competed in bodybuilding in amateur ranks, are competing nowadays. And I've talked to several promoters, and this is across the board all throughout the country. And there's different theories about why this is happening. So we're going to talk about like what's happening and the reasons for it. And also the quality is way down. So I'll give you, I'll let Leo start, what your thoughts are, and then I'll kick in with what I think.
So first off, I think that there are a few more shows, which spreads it out more, but there's also with social media more and more this, instant rewards lifestyle that people have, that whatever they, start, they want instant results. And, you order on Amazon, it could be there the same day, and it goes throughout everything. And they only see, successful people on Instagram, and they don't see what's behind it. And they think, okay, I can get a pro card now. And I think there's that. There's also the financial aspect. They want a lot of money for that. Coaches cost a lot of money, so the whole thing is also expensive. And maybe more and more people just bodybuilding for social media for the wrong reasons. And also, it is the case that there's more divisions. So obviously, when 10 years ago, 5 years ago, people would have to do bodybuilding. Now they can do more of the other divisions. I mean, it started actually in 2016 with where we then had classic and men's physique, and but now we also have like novice, all these novice things. They used to be novice, but now there's like different levels of novice, and there's also some other federations coming up where people could go. So yeah, maybe that's the reason. I'm not quite sure.
Well,
You
when I
tell me.
started competing in the 80s as a teenager, I remember going to teenage shows, I mean local teenage shows, and having 10 to 15 competitors against me. I won my first show, Saddleback Valley Classic, when I was 16 years old, and I had at least 10 competitors in that. Just the teenage division, not counting all bodybuilding. This last weekend, well, the weekend before, we went to the Cal, and the Cal is generally considered a pretty prestigious show on the amateur level. I want to say in bodybuilding, there might have been 10 guys in the whole, between all of the different weight classes.
Oh my God, that's nothing.
Yeah, like maybe 10. And the quality, let me put it this way. My guy that's getting ready for USA's, he wanted to compete in it because he felt he could win. And I told him, there's no way, you're 8 weeks out. You're not ready. And the Cal's supposed to be a good show. He could have won 8 weeks out. The quality was, I mean, the heavyweight that won the overall, he was okay. There was a small middleweight Asian guy. He was okay. Nobody was like great. I remember when Luke Carroll won the Cal, and he looked like, a bodybuilder.
I remember when my friend Joe Palacios won the Cal in 22, and it was in San Diego, I think, or no, 24, 23, 23, and it was in San Diego. And he looked like everyone was like, you could just go into the open pros, and you would not get last. And then he ended up winning the USA's, and yeah, that's like, and that show wasn't that bad. And it was just like 2 or 3 years ago. I don't quite remember if it was 22 or 23. I think 23. And that was not that long ago, man. And Jesus, that show wasn't that bad. And now it's like, yeah, I mean, I was there at the prejudging. That was pretty empty. And even the men's physique guys look bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the divisions. I mean, I see that more people go to classic. That's for sure. But yeah, it's kind of sad, man.
So
They
I've
don't
got
want
some
to put
theories
in the
as to
picture. Yeah.
why this is happening. First of all, a lot has changed since COVID started, and
Mhm.
COVID shut down a lot of businesses. And a lot of businesses that got shut down were gyms. And the hardcore gyms, the mom and pop gyms, they pretty much went out for the most part. I want to say, the fitness centers survived, the big ones, Planet Fitness,
Mhm.
24-hour fitness, these type of places. But
That makes sense. Yeah.
I have the only hardcore bodybuilding gym in my whole county. There's a couple others that claim that, but they're just fitness centers. They're not really bodybuilding gyms. And if you're a young guy coming up, and you go into a Planet Fitness, I don't think you have the environment or the equipment. Well, maybe the equipment could get by, but the environment is just not conducive to bodybuilding. It's not motivating to compete in bodybuilding. I mean, they lunk alarm you for if you lift too heavy of weights. So there really isn't a place for most of these people to go if they want to do bodybuilding.
Yeah. Makes sense.
At my gym, we have like all of the best equipment and the atmosphere, and we play rock music, and we have posters on the wall, big, huge posters of Ronnie Coleman and Phil Heath and all the top champions. And you walk in there, and it's like, okay, this is a bodybuilding gym. This is where I want to lift. And
Maybe they also have the wrong influencers, and maybe that could change now because most of them, or like many of them this year, got into bodybuilding. So all the kids following them might get like more enthusiasm for bodybuilding, might visit shows, might visit their idols at the next show and see them for the first time, see bodybuilding, see a show, and then maybe they were like, I like this, let's go for it. Maybe that's it. That's a really good thing when you think about it. Like, look at Sam Sulek when he's going to compete at the Arnold next year. All of his fans are going to come, which are like 20-year-olds, and they might get hooked. It could happen. Or like, I mean, Larry Wheels doesn't have that many fans, but who else? Eric Janicki. So yeah, and he's going to be the topic today as well. I hope that these influencers competing is gonna, yeah, shine a good light on it and have
well,
people
another
see,
thing, go
yeah, what
ahead.
it takes too.
Well, another thing that happened was uh, the show promoters got greedy, and they just wanted to get as many entry fees as possible. So they started giving out pro cards like they were nothing. I remember when I started, in order to get a pro card, you had to win your class at the Nationals or the Team Universe. That there was the only way you could get a pro card. Even at the USA, they didn't give out a pro card. And then later, you had to win the overall at the USA, and then you could get a pro card. So there's like 6 pro cards a year given out.
When did they
Now,
start the USA Pro Card? I think it started in the 90s already.
yeah, I'm saying I started
Yeah,
back in the 80s.
yeah. Yeah,
And
do people have to remember because later, you're like, later? Wait, later is pretty long ago.
right.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, normally, like when Sean and Ray and I competed, I remember Sean, he went to the teen nationals with me. The following year, he went to the open nationals. He won the nationals, and he was straight out to the Olympia. Like, he won nationals, and they were like, he was going to the Olympia, like shortly after, within a year. You know, and Lee Haney and all those Gasperi, whoever won the nationals, you know, they were already considered, you know, the next big pro, an Olympia contender. Nowadays, people win the nationals and they either stop competing or they got to wait 5 years to get big enough to go to compete as a pro.
Yeah.
And so what used to happen, like myself, I competed in the USA's and nationals probably 10 times over the years. So every time I remember I went to nationals in Miami one year, there was like 200 competitors just in the open bodybuilding, maybe more. There were so many.
How many divisions are that? 5 or 6?
You have
bantam, lightweight,
bantam,
middleweight, light heavy, heavy, super heavy. 6.
There's bantam and there's welterweight, and then there's lightweight, then middleweight.
Oh, then 7.
And then light heavy, and then heavyweight, and then super heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't used to have that many classes either.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember going to Miami, and there were so many of us. They just marched us on stage. You know, everybody had quarter turns, and most of the people didn't come back. and then it was, they sifted through everybody and like, here's your top 10, go to the night show, everybody go home. You know, but nowadays it's just not like that. I think at the national levels there's going to be still some good guys. I've got some guys competing at USA's coming in July that are pretty good, but overall I'm not seeing the depth and the numbers of competitors competing in the amateur levels.
The depth is actually in the classic physique. There's like 40 guys on the national stage, and there's like 20, 25 that are really good. Not really that are good, and then there's maybe like 10 that are really good. And the open, and the classic guys, oftentimes, the bad thing is there's guys in classic that they don't have the structure for classic, but they still do it because they haven't put on enough muscle. And it's like, buddy, to look good, you need more muscle. Go to open, bro.
They figure they meet the height and weight criteria, so they're classic, even though they're not. They don't have the build of a classic.
Yeah,
and some the amateurs you can still compete in a light heavyweight and open or whatever. So I don't know why they don't just do that.
And it is possible that with whatever structure you have and the amount of muscle mass you are allowed to put on in classic, that you can improve your lines by going into the open because you can add muscle in the right spots. So you can actually look more classic in the open. That's what they don't get. Like, they're like, oh, I'm making the weight, so I'm classic. Yeah, but you need more weight to actually get a better structure or like in a better shape because you don't have the structure already. But if you slap on muscle in the right spots, you can look technically more classic and more aesthetic being heavier. So a lot of people just need more size. Like, who was that, for example? I think Justin Compton, for example. I think he didn't look that great when he was light. But once he got heavier, all of a sudden, his structure looked way better. Nick Walker, the same. Mm-hmm. He looked really bad when he first competed the first shows, all of them. And then even though his midsection is pretty wide, the bigger he got, the better he looked.
Yeah, you have to fill out that frame to fill up. Even myself, I had a coach when I started out. He always told me it's better to be a big light heavyweight than a small heavyweight. So I would be nearly in shape at 225 pounds, and then I diet myself down to 198 to make light heavyweight. And I realized after doing it for years, the problem was my bone structure was too big for a light heavyweight. So even though I was
Mhm.
bigger and more shredded than the other people in my division, I did not look right. I looked blocky because I just had bigger wrists, bigger knees, bigger hips, and everything else.
Yeah.
So finally I competed at 225 in shape, and actually I looked right. Now I filled out my frame.
Yeah. And some people have to fill it out completely to look good. And other people already look good when they're like,
Yeah, if you have a
lighter.
small bone
So,
structure, real tiny joints and stuff. I mean, Sean Ray, I remember, I don't know what he weighed when we first competed, but he was under 200 pounds, but he looked
mhm,
huge because he has like small bone structure.
yeah. If he would have pushed it, he might have looked worse. And other people, when they push it, they look better. So
Right.
that's very individual. Yeah.
But the other thing I was thinking about, I think the mentality in on young people and just people in general is way different than when I was coming up. Um, when I started in bodybuilding, I was thinking about this. I wanted to be a bodybuilder because I was training in a bodybuilding gym, but I wanted to be big and strong. I didn't want to just look strong. I wanted to be strong. So I also
Yeah.
looked up to the power lifters. And there was a power lifter that probably only the old timers here are going to know who I'm talking about because his name was Anthony Clark.
Mhm.
And pull him up, just do a Google search and pull him up. I wanted people to see what he was about. It'll pop right up.
Yeah.
Anthony Clark, powerlifter.
Yeah. Yeah. I put it in. Okay.
Okay. So go to there's a Wikipedia thing of him. Anyways, this guy was a Filipino, and I don't know if you guys can read that.
This is an actor.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can even read that. Just pull up a video of him from him lifting. But anyways, Anthony Clark, he was like 5'7". He was well over 300 pounds. The guy had like 26-inch arms. He was the first person ever to reverse grip bench press 800 pounds. I mean, he first person ever to bench press 800 pounds. They took it from him as a technicality, but you'll see here, I think it's like 750 pounds, and he does it with a reverse grip. This guy was a freaking monster. And him and Ed Cohen were two powerlifters that I looked up to because they were just beasts. The guy he also squatted over 1,000 pounds.
Even
Check this
reverse
out.
grips.
Reverse grip. I used to bench like that too. So he had like 20, I think he had like 25-inch arms at 5'7". Now, granted, he was not conditioned or anything like a bodybuilder, but he was just insanely strong. And I remember when I was a kid, I read his biography, and so he was severely abused by his father growing up, beaten like
Hmm.
daily, and he got like super mentally tough from that abuse. I'm not saying the abuse is good, but he just had a rough life growing up. And I think I remember reading that when I was a kid and thinking, this guy went from, a kid getting abused to becoming a world champion like that, and just a monster. And he used that. I don't see that. I don't see that in kids today. I don't see that in anybody today anymore. I don't
Hmm.
see that drive. I don't see that, you know, that need to succeed. Um, One of my guys that's getting ready for USA, he's an athletic director at a school, and the school has mandatory breakfast for all the students. They give them a cinnamon roll and honey nut Cheerios for breakfast. and the kids don't drink the milk. None of these kids can do a push-up if their life depends on it. I remember when I was a kid and we had mandatory PE, I had to do pull-ups, and we were tested on them, and push-ups, and run laps. It was like required. Now the kids don't even do any of this.
Yeah,
So,
this was this mandatory test. Kennedy put some tests in. Remember that?
recently?
No, no, the old Kennedy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had to do push-ups and pull-ups, and we had to be able to do a certain amount, and we had to play sports. I mean, it was just like we were required to do it. I don't see that anymore. I don't see, even in my gym, which is pretty much a hardcore training gym, the kids are, I assume that they're like a step above the 24-hour fitness kids who are total lazy shits. But I don't see anybody with that kind of drive anymore. I don't see it. I don't even see it in the pros. Not like it used to be.
You know what? Let's show this guy in the comments. He wanted us to assess his physique. He won the Emerald Cup. I think when you look at him, he looks like a '90s bodybuilder. He looks really good.
Are you talking about Kevin Pulsifer?
No, Connor something. Connor Burton. Look at him.
Let me see.
See that?
Is this recently?
8th of May, yes.
So is that?
Oh shit! I clicked on stop
off.
sharing. Wait a second. Sorry. Yeah, he looks really good. Look at him. Connor Burton training. So he won the Emerald Cup. This is just now happened, I think. 1 week ago. He posted this.
Is that
I think
open
it was like
bodybuilding?
3 weeks ago.
That's open bodybuilding?
Yeah, yeah. Look, they have different trunk colors, so that's bodybuilding.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, good striations here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he has nice muscle bellies. I think his back was rather his weakness, but let's see. Because that was an older post. Yeah, good shape. No, back looks good too. Back looks good too. Chest up, bro. Chest up more, but pretty good still. Posing looks good so far. It's obviously not the best angle here. I mean, he's like light years ahead of the other two guys.
Right.
Not even close.
I was going to say he looks good, but what about the other ones?
Yeah. Elbows a little forward, I would say. Lashford looks really good from the front on this other shot too. Well, I wonder what his weight is. It might be like a heavyweight. Doesn't look like a super heavy. I don't know like how his potential is, how long he's been lifting and everything.
Pull
But
up.
if he gets a little bigger with the same structure, he can be a really good pro.
Pull
From
up
his structure and everything.
from the show last weekend.
Yeah.
It was the one that what was it? The Tahoe show?
The amateur show, you mean?
The
Reno?
one that we just had that
The Legion.
Legion. They had the Legion. Pull up the Legion and the amateur. It was a guy named Kevin Pulsifer.
Yeah, yeah, he texted me.
He goes by
Kevin,
Pulse
right?
Muscle.
Kevin Pulse or something.
Yeah, Pulse.
Yeah, we texted. He wanted to hear my opinion. I just put in Pulse, maybe it comes up. Pulse Muscle.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll share it.
He just won. I actually trained that kid like 5 years ago for that same show, and he won it that 5 years ago.
He told me he just prepped for like 3 weeks.
Well, he's getting ready for USA's.
Yeah. Okay, I don't want to see that. I thought it was about the show.
There's pictures of him from the show, I believe. Those are old.
Maybe it's just on the Legion site. I'll check the Legion.
No, I
Legion.
saw it on his Instagram.
Nah, he can't have posted that much. I don't think so. Maybe it was on his story. You know,
Yeah, maybe.
he will be here. Probably even a video if he won the amateur thing.
He won the amateur, yeah.
Yeah. It should be.
Kai
And
Greed was giving him the trophy.
So there he is. That looks great structure, huh?
Yeah, he's really wide. He's a pretty big guy, and his
That
conditioning
front
is pretty
double.
decent.
That front double looks amazing.
Mm-hmm. So there are some good competitors, but overall, I mean, look at him and the guy competing. I think there was one guy in his class competing against him.
Yeah, that's Aaron. I know him. Very nice guy. He unfortunately has like very short legs. Look, so and high lats. He has these arm genetics, extremity genetics. Yeah, he just has a better structure.
Yeah, Kevin's very wide. He's got good shape.
And he was drier too.
Yeah,
Kevin.
He's been competing now for a while.
Nice. That's really sad.
I prepped him for that same show. Like it had to be at least 5 years ago.
And what do you think? How much did he put on since then? And how old is the guy? Do you know that? He doesn't look that young.
He was mid-20s, I want to say, maybe early mid-20s when I trained him.
Wow, then he might be my age.
Yeah.
I think he looks way older. But I mean, then some people say I look like 40 or 50. So okay, and then I look older. I always see myself looking like a little child, and people like, you look like 40. I'm like,
Connor
what?
Burton training saying 244.8 pounds. Who is that?
Wow, that's how much he weighed. Wow.
That's the guy that you showed before?
Yeah, so he must be really, really tall. Why is it funny that he's coached by Stu?
I don't know.
Yeah. So he's probably kind of coached by what's his name? Blue something.
Blue Taylor?
Yeah. Because I guess Stu does everything that Blue does, because I think that's his only coach he had, and he's so young.
Yeah.
6 feet. Yeah, that's why he's tall. Oh, I mean, but if you're 6 feet and you can get up to 270 and keep that shape, does he say his age here? Tell us your age.
Connor, how old are you?
But yeah, that's a good thing, man. He looks amazing.
So we have some decent people, but I'm saying the depth for the most part just isn't there like it used to be.
Yeah, but I also think it's because there's more shows and they're more spread out. Let's say you only had 2 shows a year where you can get a pro card in the States.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone would go there, right? But now they can spread out to 5 shows. So obviously, not everyone will do all the 5 shows. That is good.
Right.
If you just have 2 shows, it's going to look more stacked, and you think like, oh, we have more quality. But do we really? I don't know. I think overall we probably might have even more quality, but we don't have. So the average of our people that step on stage looks way worse. We have more quality, but we also have way more bad guys looking guys, and that makes it look so bad, because then there's one good guy out of 5. Meanwhile, if the other 4 would just never come, it would look way better. So it's kind of you know how it is nowadays, and the coaches are just about the money, so they even let someone set on stage who just shouldn't stand there. I would be like, bro, you're not ready. Like, I can't, like, I'm not going with you. Like, I can't, like, put my name on this.
Yeah, Connor says he thinks that the cost is a limiting factor of people competing, and I gotta agree with that. I mean, when you consider like $350 to enter a competition,
Yeah,
and plus an NPC card, plus tanning, plus hotel, plus this, plus that. I think a lot of people just can't afford it right now.
Yeah. So in where was it, in Pittsburgh or New York, they wanted $200 for 2 coats. And you better come with your buddy and let him tan you. Like $200. Like, come on, 150, 130. Okay, but 200, come on. That's really expensive. I'm so
Yeah.
lucky. My shout out to my sponsor, Blackstone and PJ Braun. Thank you guys. You're the best.
And now then you got to pay a backstage pass for the coach. I mean, it's getting ridiculous. You're cutting out. You're muted.
The backstage pass for the codes is now an NPC membership.
No, and you have to pay a fee.
Oh, that also. Well, hell
$350 plus the NPC. You have to have an NPC card and you have to pay a fee.
Oh my God.
I know. It happened to me when I had one female competitor competing in Masters USA's like 3 years ago. And I told this before, Tarek. I went back there to see her for 2 seconds, and Tarek's like, "Come with me. You have to pay this fee, $350 plus an NPC card, just to look at them."
Yeah. So I had the best tan on stage. I was told numerous times every time my wife tans me with the Pro Tan tanning kit. But if she's not there, I'm not going to do it myself. I'm not going to, I go the safest route and get the tanning that's serviced. But if I have my wife with me, I let her do it.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that the Pro Tan is maybe a better way to go.
If you have someone, it's pretty good. But you just have to be sure that this person knows what they're doing.
Yeah, they have to use the applicator and the gloves and all that.
Yeah, or you can get from Germany. I'll check it out if that still exists. Universum Top 10. That is liquid, and you just need like a roller. Yeah, it still exists. Let's see how much it is. It was so dirt cheap back in the day. It was like $20 for a bottle. I can't see how much it is.
Yeah, but there was this one stuff coming. People
it's 33 per bottle. If you have 2 bottles, you're that safe. Probably like you probably don't need one at least, but still. But
I know the Pro Tan looks really good, but the some of those other tans they were horrible. I'm not familiar with this one.
This is from Germany.
Yeah, the
Germans always bring that to the States. It's hard to do because it's liquid, and then they But if you put it in your checked luggage, it should be fine. Just have to make sure that stuff is like triple sealed.
Right, because it'll leak all over everything.
You don't want to have your whole clothes be brown. Yeah, but that's good stuff. Yeah.
So, I mean, just in general, I just think the drive is just not there in people today as it used to be.
Yeah.
And you see it even on the pro levels. I don't see the suffering being quite the same. I don't think people are as hardcore as they used to be.
You know what? This year, I didn't suffer as much. Like, I suffered the least I ever suffered. And I swear it was the peptides. I just felt more energy, more energized. Even if I didn't sleep much, I woke up and I'm like, ready to go. And then I look, I just slept 5 hours. But I'm like, but I don't feel like it. I feel pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was that. I still had to suffer and my legs felt heavy and stuff, but it wasn't as bad as when you're on the couch and you're like, oh, I don't want to get up. Oh, this is hard. So, yeah, it's
So let's touch upon a couple things. I wanted to talk about Patrick Moore's amazing transformation from 1 week to the next.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
He went from the Cal, I think he was like third or fourth call out, to second place at the Legions.
Yeah, I think he was even 10th or something.
Yeah.
So this is the famous before and after.
Mm-hmm.
No, wait. This is 2010.
So,
No, 2019, I think. Yep, when he was so good at the Olympia, and this is now. But you can see his legs are deeper there, so he is drier there. You can also see it in the arms, the separation here.
mm-hmm.
So he looks a little bigger here. If 6 years later, which he should, but he wasn't as dry. But he was. Here's the before and after from the Cal to now. So you got to say he looks better. He looks tighter. His ass, everything. It's also a little better post, a little more upright here.
Mm-hmm.
He looks definitely drier. But you say he lost 15 pounds?
He said he lost 15 pounds.
Oh yeah, 250 and 235. Well,
yeah. So he lost 15 pounds in 1 week.
Yeah.
And he claims that he did like 37 workouts.
32. Yeah.
30. Yeah. Two weight training workouts per day, and 4 cardio sessions, or 3 cardio sessions.
So this is like 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour 3 times, or yeah, it has been done before. He definitely lost some body fat, I would say, but it's not going to be 15 pounds of body fat. So obviously, like you said, it's going to be a lot of water.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can only lose a certain amount of body fat in a week, maybe 2 to 3 pounds of actual fat.
Yeah.
So he had to have lost, 12 pounds, at least 12 pounds of water. So I'm not sure, how much the 30 sessions of training, as he put it, contributed to that.
I mean, I think they contributed a lot, but it also shows that before he didn't peak right.
Right.
So it was both. He lost some fat and he peaked better. It was not just that he was like losing 15 pounds of fat. Definitely not.
Well, I've transformed myself in 2 days and actually gained 15 pounds and looked like a different person.
Yeah.
Because I was over dieted and over depleted. And then in 2 days I'd fill out. It literally was 15 pounds heavier and looked like a completely different person.
I think it's sad that so I commented, I'm like, do this one more time and come really, really shredded to Toronto. There's still some room. And then he doesn't even do Toronto. Why? Why am I coming in second, heading into a show where no one's coming? I mean, yeah, okay. Maybe he thinks he wants to win the next show. But what's after Toronto that he can win?
Someone said people need to pay bills. Ain't nobody got time. Eat, train, and sleep. Let me tell you something. When I was coming up, we all had to pay bills. Money was tight as shit. We didn't have anywhere near the luxuries that we have today. We didn't have cell phones and all these kinds of things. We were eating tuna fish out of a fucking can, and we made it work.
Like whatever you want to do, you can do. Sorry. Yeah. If you always find a way. If you truly want something, you'll find a way. I hate those excuses. Oh, I need to do this. I need to do that. Blah, 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 blah. Well, then eat less. Then you don't have to train that much. You don't need to do 3 hours of cardio. He needs to do 3 hours of cardio because he fucked up the whole rest of his prep. That's why he needs to do 3 hours of cardio in the last week. Yeah, let's be real. Like other guys that are in shape 1 week before, they do 0 hours of cardio the last week. That wasn't necessary. That was just necessary because he didn't time it right, or he was too lazy, or he ate some cheat meals where he shouldn't, or it wasn't planned out right, whatever it may be, or he got sick, whatever. His timing was off, so he had to catch up. No one needs to do 3 hours of cardio to get in shape. You can just take a few more weeks to do your prep.
Yeah. I know, but life was way harder when I was growing up than it is now. I think people are softer because it's easier.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
No, it's true.
Yeah. Nowadays, you have a remote control for everything. Back in the day, you had to get up even to change the TV channel. And nowadays, you can just do everything laying back. Like a lot of people, they work from home too. You don't have to drive to work. That's also sometimes. Like, there's a lot of things, So I'm like, I don't want to hear excuses.
This
Then
guy
just
is
don't do
saying
bodybuilding at all.
that if you want to turn pro, if you're serious, you only got to do one amateur to qualify once every 2 years. Yeah, that's true. They do one amateur show and they're qualified to compete at the nationals for 2 years.
Oh, so you qualify for 2 years now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they do that. Even the pros have to qualify for the Olympia every year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know why they instituted that. I'm not sure what actually, yeah, I know like one of my guys competing in USA is getting ready. He's already qualified from last year's competition. So he wasn't even planning to do another qualifier, but I told him we're going to do one just as a warm up anyways.
I think you're only qualified for 12 months, and that's why the year before sometimes counts. I don't think you were qualified for 2 years. I think that's wrong. I think that the NPC wouldn't shoot themselves in the foot like that. And because
I'm not sure. I know he was qualified from last year.
But probably from June, and then it's in May, and then he still qualifies, something like that.
Oh, maybe that's the case.
Yeah. Pretty sure.
No, he said yes,
Okay.
2 years.
Okay, you must know you're an amateur.
Yeah, 2 years.
Interesting.
So
that's weird.
Like, I don't know why they would make such a rule that's just like shooting themselves in the foot. I don't know.
Yeah. They should rather change that and like get away with the fit model stuff if it's about money, but okay.
Yeah, I don't understand their thinking. They give away too many pro cards too soon, and they, there's hardly anybody competing in the local shows because I guess you don't even have to.
Yeah.
And then, if you're charging, $150 for an entry fee plus an NPC card plus this plus that, and they don't need to qualify, why even do it?
Weird. Larry, let's go to the last topic, Eric Janicki, because I don't have much time left.
Okay. So let's go. We're looking at next week. This weekend's coming up is the Toronto show.
Yeah. And there's in the Toronto show, we have obviously Regan against Sauce again.
Yep.
But Eric Janicki just got the pro card. And he acknowledged, I text with him, I know him. He was on my podcast twice too. And I always criticize him because I want him to do better. For example, the front lat spread is not really optimal, the back lat spread. But he really takes it to heart and works on it, which I love. Just because some posing coach tells him it's great. I'm like, buddy, I just stood in front of Tyler Mannion and Steve Weinberger, and I tell you, you can do better. And I like that he does that, and like he wants to come more shredded. He's not thinking, oh, I'm like I'm like the champion now. I'm like the biggest shit. So he's really detailed. He's not like, oh, I know everything better because I'm bigger. He listens, and that's what's going to make him get better and better and better because he's not like stubborn in his ways. That's what I like about him a lot.
Where did he turn pro?
Here, Mexico Pro Super Show. The show was crap, bro. I would have probably turned pro in the open bodybuilding because no one was conditioned and no one had good structure. So, yeah, but he stood out. Like he stood out a lot. It was a clear case. It wasn't even debatable, laughable. It was like so clear winner. I think if he really got into 100%, like his very best shape, which he hasn't been close to, like if he really grinds this week and doesn't care about being super full or anything, just does it Patrick Moore, and then loses like 2 or 3 pounds of fat, then I think he can do well. And then posing right, I think he could do well. But he can also not do well if he's not in shape. For him, it's going to be like a conditioning and posing thing. Structurally, he's very impressive. He's very tall. He's not going to be overlooked. But yeah,
I think you can compare as well to Regan because he's tall.
That too. Yeah,
it's going to be 2 tall guys next to Sasan.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I told Sasan, bro, get some NAD plus and some B vitamin shots. And his best friend has a clinic. I don't know if he's going to do it. He's very busy, but he should, because he's very he feels his energy is a little fading from all the flights and everything. So I'm like, but you've never done this? Do it, you know? I mean, B vitamins are the energy vitamins. I mean, everyone knows that. He hasn't done those. And then some NAD. I mean, that could do something for him, but we'll see. We'll see.
Who else is competing at
just Andrea Musi is the only one who could also do well. I really like him from the front. The problem is his back has always been way behind. But he's very, very aesthetic. Like if he comes really in shape, he could almost win. Maybe he could even win. Like, but I've never seen him in 100% shape, which is sad. And if he brought up his back, he can be very, very, very dangerous.
I don't know what this guy's talking about. These pro gyms are all broccoli haired, whatever. I don't know what gyms you're talking about. My gym's a hardcore gym, so I'm not sure what he's referring to. Who is this, sir?
This is Andrea Musi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is one of his best poses. I hate when they pull up their trunks. It looks
weird.
It looks GAY.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that. I mean, okay. Yeah, but like let's see, like from the side and the front, he looks tremendous, right?
Yeah,
really good, really good.
Hamstring drop is crazy.
I've never seen him in that good a shape because even if it's filtered, like all these striations, that's like 3 weeks out. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Or 4 weeks out even. So unless he thinks he's ready 4 weeks out, then he should be very good. Yeah. But he knows why. You see why he always posts his front lat spread, because that's his best pose.
Right.
Yeah. He made a big jump like in this 4 weeks. Look, this was April 13th. And that was May 11th. There's a big jump in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Imagine he does another jump like that. Whoa. So yeah, I've seen him also live before. I was like, man, you have such a nice shape and taper. Just a little more condition, and you could do really well. So let's see if he finally is gonna prevail. He could shock.
Yeah, someone said everyone goes to commercial. The only way to avoid that is hardcore gyms. Well, I'm saying there aren't very many hardcore gyms anymore. There just aren't very many. There's hardly any.
Yeah, Arlington, Texas.
Yeah,
Ronnie's gym is still hardcore. I would say Destination Dallas is also still hardcore, mostly.
Bev's gym,
100%. Armrest in Denver. Already, this Miami Iron Gym is hardcore. Do you know that one? Miami Iron Gym?
I haven't not been to that, no.
They're hardcore. Really hardcore. Damn it. I think there are some. Isn't this Powerhouse Murrieta or so? Isn't that pretty hardcore?
I have not been to it.
Is it Powerhouse?
There is a gym. There is a gym called The Gym in San Diego. That's a really hardcore.
That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's The Gym. I mean, there are some. I'm saying we used to have like In LA alone, there was probably 20 hardcore gyms. Now, what do you have left? Like
Yeah.
Gold's North Hollywood, maybe? I
Goes
think
from
that's it.
Hollywood? I don't know.
Gold's North Hollywood is sort of a
Yeah.
hardcore gym.
I always heard it was like totally packed and it's bad.
Well, I don't know about the packed part is probably true, but I'm saying as far as like the equipment, the atmosphere, it's still kind of they still kept it kind of the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not very many. Most of it's the fitness centers now.
Yeah. I mean, hardcore. I wouldn't even say I train hardcore because I'm not like one who's like has these old school clothes on and is like raw or something. But from my intensity, yeah, I'm hardcore, but I'm not like celebrating it in that way. You know what I mean? Like, you know, these guys that are like, they have these old school shirts,
Someone's
ripped
telling me
apart,
that
all fucked up, you know.
they changed everything. It goes North Hollywood. They got replaced all the machines.
Yeah.
You know, I noticed that like some of the even gyms that used to have the really good. I just bought a Nebula leg press. I've been looking for one for 10 years. I just got one. It was $10,000, but I bought it because I've been trying to get one forever, and it's badass.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
$10,000.
My gym equipment is worth more than 3 people's big houses.
Well, yeah. Metroflex, yes. Yes.
Yeah, Metroflex Long Beach. That's probably true. But that place is I guess it's hardcore, even though it's dirty as shit.
Yeah.
I don't think hardcore has to be dirty. Like I keep my place clean.
Yeah, no, it's just what I mean, like by, you know, this old school, dusty, iron, dirty. Like I meant the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you're actually meaning hardcore, it should only be about the training and not like how you look like doing it or if you scream or everything. But that's kind of in my head. I have this because I've seen it. You know.
Someone says, is it possible to gain 20 to 25 pounds of stage weight without adding even a centimeter to your waist or midsection? I'm thinking if you completely avoid axle loading from dead squats, rows, it's possible. You know, I don't believe that heavy compound movements make your waist bigger necessarily, because back in the 80s, that's all people did is squats, deadlifts, and heavy rows. And Lee Haney, you know, he did squats, deadlifts, and heavy rows, and he had a small waist, 31-inch waist. So part of it's genetic, and I think part of the big waist that you see nowadays is really from GH insulin and eating too much food.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think it has anything to do with lifting heavy weight.
I would say probably my waist, if I flex my abs, could be a little wider than when I started lifting, but I think my vacuum back then and now would be probably the same.
Okay, so this guy, I'm just going to say something. He says lifting weights in jail, dudes get huge. Okay, I've been in prison. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. It's true. There's some dudes get big in prison. I trained my ass off in prison. You have no idea what training in prison, that's as hardcore as it gets. All you have is free weights for the most part, maybe a couple junky machines, but everybody there is training their ass off because you're training for a different reason. You're not training in there to compete in a bodybuilding show. You're training to survive, literally survive. So it's a whole different mindset.
Larry, what's your day pass? $20, right?
$20.
We have some people that want to come to you.
Undergroundperformancegym.com. Just go on there and you can buy a day pass, or it's easy to find. Links will be in the description.
Yeah.
I think the bloated waist, honestly, it's GH and insulin. And
yeah, you haven't seen anyone before the introduction of insulin, even when there's only GH, you hadn't seen anyone with a bloated waist. But in the beginning of when there was GH, no one was taking crazy amounts. Maybe like 3, 4, 5 units, right? In the 80s, there was no one
Look, I
probably
didn't.
taking
I had
20.
I had like a 29-inch waist, and I did heavy squats and deadlifts and bench press for the first 20 years of my training, and my waist was 29 inches until I took insulin.
Also, Bumstead was also deadlifting all the freaking time. Waist didn't grow. So I think
And I
it's really,
trained my abs, and I had good abs and a small waist. And everybody back in the 80s trained their abs like crazy, and their waist didn't get bigger. So that's a bunch of bullshit.
but I disagree with the overeating stuff. There's
Don't
also
think overeating-
natties that overeat. They never get a fit back. Like, I've never seen any natural grow his waist.
No, I think the combination of the eating plus the insulin. I mean, you can just push so
No,
much.
because
food
this
down.
guy says it's because they're overeating. It's not GH or insulin.
Oh,
I'm
well,
like,
no, that's
no,
not true.
overeating by itself, no.
No, because we used to bulk up in the off season back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And like eat, we do out of the smorgasbord after training, and just sit there and eat and stuff our face for 3 hours.
Look at Lee Priest.
Yep.
Lee Priest would have had the biggest waist on the planet if it was overeating. The guy got so fat.
He would get up to over 300 pounds.
Dude,
I've seen him over 300 pounds at like 5'5".
He looked pregnant, and it was fat. So no.
But then he'd come down, and you have a small waist. So there you go. It's the insulin for sure.
No. Mr. Gooman, you're wrong. I'm not saying that they are not overeating, but you said it is not GH or insulin. It's only the overeating. And that's, I say, is wrong. It is definitely not the overeating, because if you only overate, you wouldn't grow your waist. There you go.
Yep. It's the insulin for sure.
Yeah.
But I think the combination of insulin and GH makes it even more.
Yeah. See, there you go. It's the combination. Exactly.
Right. All right. Any other questions we had that we didn't answer?
If you want to see my whole theory, there's a video of me and Chris Aceto talking about it.
Ask me about DIM. Is that the
that's diindolylmethane?
Yeah, I use it. I don't know if it works, to be honest with you.
It's supposed
I take it to it lowers. It's supposed to lower estrogen, but I just take it because maybe it helps, but I can't say for sure.
So it's actually also supposed to just balance your hormones out. Mm-hmm. So I would say if your estrogen is very low, it's not going to lower it more. But if it's high, it can lower it a little bit. That's the theory. In reality, I think it marginally helps. And I think it might even help more with natural people if there's some imbalances or women. But yeah, I can't tell if it's truly working. I mean, the studies say it can do something, but
any
do you
thoughts
really
on
need it? I wouldn't say.
Any thoughts on this retatrutide? Nick Walker just came out and said he used it for his last competitions.
I think it's the best one of the GLPs because it doesn't upset your stomach as much or at all. I mean, if you overdo it, obviously, but it's also the least suppressive on your appetite. On the other hand, it actually has a mechanism that's slightly anabolic because it works through 3 pathways, and the tirzepatide only 2, and Ozempic only 1. Ozempic seems to be the most appetite suppressive, but it has the most side effects. And I don't know anyone, honestly, like retatrutide is the stuff that sells the best, like with my peptide sponsor. And I haven't heard of anyone having issues with it. So way different with Ozempic. I hear all the time, oh God, my stomach. I even half dosed what the doctor said. My stomach is fucked. They already, like some of the clinics already prescribe BPC at the same time for stomach health, just to counteract it. So I would never recommend anything, but if so, then I would prefer, like, tell everyone retatrutide over any of the other two.
Well, supposedly it has an
Tirzepatide seems to
effect
be
on
good too.
glucagon, so that makes you more insulin sensitive.
Yeah,
Reduces insulin resistance.
yeah.
So that would be a good thing.
That could be, even in a low dose, help people in the off season. Also, people that need to eat a lot when their digestive is slowed down a bit. Maybe instead of 7,000 calories, they can gain weight with 6,000.
Right.
So if it doesn't suppress your appetite, so if you find a dosage where it doesn't suppress your appetite, but it can help you with insulin sensitivity, that would be optimal. But that's very individual. So you have to find out.
Right.
And that would be probably also a dosage which is like so non-toxic that you could probably take it for a year straight. If you're like on a 1 milligram while others are on 10, you should be like, it's always like
I
the
can
dosage.
understand
Mhm.
some people, like I don't know, obese people taking these GLP-1 agonists, and because they can't stop eating. But as a bodybuilder, if I couldn't stay on I was thinking about this yesterday. If I couldn't stay on my diet, man, I would just feel like a weak piece of shit. No matter what diet they put me on, I've never been like, even if I'm hungry, I'm just like, okay, I'm hungry. That's just part of the deal.
Yeah, but you know how it is. I mean, we've been like, other people take clenbuterol for a little bit of appetite suppressing effects or other things, and if you underdose a GLP, it could do just that for you, but maybe has less side effects than others, little positive effects too. I think in bodybuilding, saying, oh, all of a sudden this drug you can't take, and that's kind of not bodybuilding. Meanwhile, you throw in everything in the book on the other side. It's like, I mean,
No, I'm not
either,
saying people shouldn't use it. I'm just saying, as a bodybuilder, if I had to depend on something like that to get in shape, I would just, I don't know. I'm just, I can't, since I was 16 and I did my first contest prep, it's like, okay, the coach gave me the diet and I just ate the food. I didn't really, I never thought about cheating on a diet. It was never even a thing.
Yeah. Some people want to take an easier route. It's still not going to magically, do anything that you need to do, and it's going to help you. You still have to eat your food. You still have to eat good food. It might help you a little bit suppressing your appetite. So
I only thing I like about this retatrutide is if it actually does increase insulin sensitivity.
Yeah.
That would be the reason I would consider not myself using it, but for a competitor, but not because you can't stay on the diet.
It also seems to help a little bit with reducing visceral fat. Obviously, the people that use it in studies, they will lose visceral fat anyways, and then it's like, was it the drug, or was it just because they lost so much fat anyways? Yeah. But it seems there's a direct effect too, that the drug does it to a degree.
Someone asked me if I would take it. Me personally, no, I would not take it because I don't have a problem like just being on a diet. Even year round, I eat pretty clean, like real clean, actually. So this is it's never been a thing for me. But I do know people that struggle to diet.
Yeah.
So maybe for some of those people, it would be helpful.
And also, like, when you're a bodybuilder, you're not always in the same mindset. Not every prep is the same. Not every circumstance is the same. So maybe at some point, some people feel like, you know what? Without it, I couldn't do it right now in the headspace I'm in, but that kind of allows me to get these 5% more where I'm like, I can do it. To each their own. Just whatever you do for the first time, start low and see how you feel about it, how you can tolerate it. Don't just go with whatever dose your friend tells you or some other people been doing and they know how they react to it. So always start very low and see how you react. So give yourself some time. Don't be like, oh, wait, there's my show in 3 weeks. I'm going to load up on it now and see what happens.
No.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. I think we've pretty much covered it all.
Yeah.
And then, unless there's any other questions.
Yeah. I'm just going to go. You can answer more questions. I
No, we're
got to
good.
leave now. But
Don't see
thanks
anything
for
yet.
having me. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And see
right, guys.
you next week.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and also leave your comments so that and other questions for the next week's episode, so we can try to answer everybody's questions. And we also want to get your opinion. Don't forget to subscribe and all that stuff.